Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video. So today we are doing this sweet little fa la la card with a stamp set from the Greeting Farm using some black cardstock and some pastel pencils. So I have my Pitt pastel pencils and my white Conti pencil. We're going to kick things off here by stamping out our little snowman using the Hero Hues white ink. This is a pigment ink. It doesn't stamp perfectly, and that's fine because we're going to color it in with our pastels. It's just to make sure that I can see the lines fairly easy so we can do this. I'm also going to add that little tree to the side, and we're going to jump into the coloring. So I'm starting off with, I didn't keep track of the colors here. I've got a few different reds and pinks from the Pitt Pastel pencils. They look a little difficult to see at the beginning, but by the time we get to the end, they really jump out at you. So I'm starting off, as I do with most coloring, with the deepest of the shadows, using the darkest colors, filling those in. I do keep the stamp set nearby just to make sure that I know what I'm coloring is what I'm supposed to be coloring. So we're starting, like I said, off doing the deepest shadows on his hat as well as his little scarf. And then we're going to blend those out with lighter colors, working all the way back to white. I did a similar card to this for the new release of this stamp set using colored pencils. And I thought it turned out really, really pretty. The coloring was definitely more smooth. There was less spaces where you could see the black cardstock peeking through because I didn't blend this out with like a blending stump or anything like that. It was just straight coloring. But I really wanted to try to use the pastel pencils and see if I enjoyed that look. And I do. I think it turned out really, really pretty. You'll see when I get to coloring in his, I guess, snow. It's not quite as smooth as I would prefer it to be, but it still worked out relatively well. I've had these pencils in my stash for a long time and have never really done much with them, so I thought it would be really fun to pull them out and finally use them on a card instead of just kind of using them once in a blue moon for adding shadows. You can see there how I added some of that white Conti pencil and then went over it with the reds in order to give it a light pink and give it like a real big highlight in there. I think it turned out really, really pretty. Now I'm filling in the little balls. I guess they're like fluff balls at the bottom of his toque. I wasn't sure what color I wanted to make them, but I didn't want them to be white, so I just decided to match them right into the clothing that he is wearing. I hope everybody's been doing wonderful. Yeah, I just hope everybody's doing really, really good. So instead of just coloring everything straight white here, I'm going in with a few gray pencils, and then blending them out with the white just to give it a little bit of shadows. I can't even speak today. A little bit of shading underneath where the hat falls and all of that, because it would give a bit of a cast shadow. It wouldn't just be straight white. So we're going to work on building up those shadows and then filling the remainder in with the white Conti pencil. And that's the same thing on his body as well as his head. Like I said, this one was super fun. It came together relatively fast. I think I only had 20 minutes of footage. I have sped this up to 3 times the original speed from when I first did it. So it wasn't a long card to do, which was kind of nice. It didn't take as many layers as the pencils did. But it turned out ever so sweet. So working on our shadows and just kind of deepening up the back of the toque there that you see. I grabbed a darker gray and then I go over top of it with the red so that it makes it like a really dark red so it looks like it's in the background, I guess. I just wanted to push that color to the back. Now we're going to work on the tree here, and I use 3 or 4 shades of green, and I just start with the shadows as per usual, and then blend it out with the lighter colors as we work our way down, I guess the fronds of the pine tree. I'm not sure what to call them, but the different layers of the pine tree as they were drawn by Marie. I cannot speak today. I apologize. So it all starts to come together super cute. I was initially going to leave some little spaces in there. Then you can see I decided I didn't like the way that looked, and I just went back and colored over top of it. That's one nice thing about the pastel pencils is you can build up layers really easy. And it is super simple to be able to kind of change your mind and go back in and make it look different from what it looked before. So that's always a fun little bonus here. So we'll get through blending all of these together using the 3 different tones of green. And next up, I think I fill in the little stump of the tree with brown. So I got 2 colors of brown, so I fill it all in with one color, and then I add a little bit of shading with the darker color. Not being too particular with it, it is definitely just a tiny area. Now we're going to start working on the snow. So I have my white pencil, a really light gray pencil, as well as a little bit of blue that I'm going to put in there just to give it a little more reflection and make it look a little bit brighter and not quite the same as the snowman, kind of separated a little bit with that little bit of blue in there. And just blend it all out. Last up, I'm going to grab just a black colored pencil, so instead of a pastel pencil, and I'm going to look back at our stamped image because I've colored over top of all of those lines. And I'm going to add back in his arms and his eyes and his mouth and make him look ever so cute again. So what I'm doing is I'm just copying it as best I can to what the stamped image has, like what Marie had drawn out for us. I find that I'm fairly okay at figuring out where things were placed. It looks like the image, and that's what I want in the end. So that is super cute. Now we stamp out our fa la la, again using that white ink from Hero Arts. And then I'm going to trace over top of it with some Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. So what I do is I take the ink and I put it on the palette here, and I add a little bit of water to make it flow a little more. And I grabbed a really tiny little brush, and I'm just tracing over all of the writing as neat and tidy as I can. Once we're done that, I'm going to mount the card on top of a pink panel just to give it a little more color in the background, and put all of that on top of a top folding A2 size note card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So that is it for today, you guys. I'm going to show you the pencil one with it, and you can see the difference between the two. And I will see you very soon in another video. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.